Everyone wants an aligned business, but most people are still stressed, overwhelmed, and push harder than ever to make it work. So the question is, are they actually out of alignment, or do they not just have the capacity to hold what they say they want? Today's conversation is going to challenge a lot of assumptions. I'm joined by Cato Vermeulen, business astrologer, leadership mentor, and international speaker. We talk about timing, wealth, identity, and the deeper patterns that drive success. We also go into astrology, how trauma can show up in leadership, and why alignment without execution doesn't actually get you anywhere. This was one of those conversations that sits right at the edge between strategy and self awareness. Let's dive in. Kato, welcome to the show. Thank you for being a guest on the Common Thread.
Thank you so much, Brother Bear. I'm so excited to be here.
We've worked really hard to get this on the air, so it feels really good. I feel like this is going to be the one.
Third time is a charm.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, so I would love to just dive right in. And so I know you've been a professional astrologer for quite some time, and I'm curious what drove the switch to focusing on helping leaders get out of their way and create their dreams?
Yeah, what a wonderful questions. So I started my business about 6 years ago, and the first 2 years of running my online business as an astrologer and spiritual teacher, and I was also running retreats worldwide, I had scaled my business to 6 figures. And I was like, oh my God, this is the shit. This is amazing. I can't believe this is happening. And then I started getting questions from, people inside my community like, oh my God, how did you do that? Like, I would love to do that too. I would love to be a 6 figure coach or a spiritual teacher. And that's when I realized, like, oh, there's something here for me to explore. And then obviously, my philosophy is that we want to build a business that is in full alignment with our natal chart. And I have a Capricorn moon that is conjunct my midhaven. I have Saturn in Aries trining my sun in Leo in the sixth house. So there's a lot of placements in my chart that kind of showed me that I'm meant to be doing something in the realm of wealth, business, and leadership. So yeah, that was really my permission slip to fully step into it and to start developing my craft. So this is actually where I see myself being the bridge between the intangible and the tangible realm. The intangible realm being astrology, numerology, the spiritual world, the invisible or intangible world, yes. And then the tangible realm is like, okay, so we want to run a business. How do we make sure that it's profitable? So I'm really passionate about bringing those two worlds together in a way so that we can be deeply spiritual and in communion with God every single day. And at the same time, making a shit ton of money. Because I believe you get to have both in this lifetime. You do not have to choose.
Mm-mm. No, and I love that. That's something I've really seen a lot lately of like we need more good people having a lot of money. And that was a big money story that I shifted moving to Hawaii and seeing I met a lot of really rich people that were really good people and starting to see the unconscious narratives that I had about money and what it meant to be rich and to start working through those things to allow my capacity to hold more wealth and have more impact in the world.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I fully agree. Like I look at myself as a gypsy with a credit card. And I'm proud of it. I'm like, why the hell not? It's the same at motherhood. Like for the longest time I believed that motherhood would destroy my entrepreneurial dreams, that I could not be ambitious and have this really big business whilst being a present mama bear. And over time, over the past couple of years, I've just been presented by the universe, with these opportunities to heal those stories and to really set myself free from it and also showcase to myself and the world that it is possible to have it all in life. Is it easy? No, absolutely not. I had a lot of sleepless nights. I had a lot of breakdowns. I had a couple of moments that God brought me to my knees, but it allowed me to deepen my craft, my wisdom, my embodiment, and it's all part of the leadership journey, I would say.
Mm. Yeah, I'm curious as you shifted into working with leaders, what were some of the common themes that you saw these people having to deal with and integrate?
Yeah, so I think a big part of my work is that I have a very masculine side, right? My Capricorn moon. I also have a father wound. So the first couple of years in my business, I was like very much on my masculine, like hustling, proving my word, proving my right to exist. It was honestly a recipe for burnout. So this is also something that I notice with a lot of entrepreneurs that I work with and coaches and consultants is that they either have a father wound or a mother wound, right? So like our childhood wounds are usually standing in the way for us to fully show up in the arena and marketing our soul work. So I would say like looking at the stories that you're telling yourself, right, that also stem from childhood of like, like what you said as well, like I didn't think it was possible to be like spiritual and wealthy at the same time, and or people with wealth are bad people, right? It's like so important to do a little inner audit, I would say, about what are the beliefs that you have about yourself, about money, about leadership, about business before anything else, because your shit is going to come up. It's not if, it's when. I always say that being an entrepreneur is like an ongoing ayahuasca ceremony. It's not just for one weekend, it's literally for a lifetime. And it's just so freaking wild, but it's so necessary. Like, this is the work, right? Yes, of course, we get to make money and have impact, but this is the work. This is our spiritual evolution, and these are our spiritual assignments. And if you look at it from that perspective, that has allowed me to fully lean into the fire, no matter how hard it can be sometimes.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think entrepreneurship is the highest form of self-expression. I maybe relationships, maybe parenthood, but it feels like I meet every one of my shadows when it comes to putting myself out there and selling my offers and owning who I am. And it is such a clear mirror for me to meet these
Mhm.
parts of me that I'm, whether it's afraid to be out in the world or to be judged or shut down or just rejected. And it's definitely something that I have found to be very much like a fast-paced, like an MBA in self-awareness.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is what I wanted to say earlier is like what makes my work so different is that I'm a combination of the masculine pillar and the feminine pillar. So in my work, like, yes, I give you all the strategies, like the innovative sales strategies and like how to market, how to sell, how to build an iconic personal brand, how to grow your followers on Instagram, right? How to never run out of leads. Like, that's the easy part for me. But another big part of my work is the feminine pillar. And that's where we really get to address any limiting beliefs, any stories that you're telling yourself, childhood wounds, past trauma, anything energetically that is holding you down or holding you back from like going all in on your building your dream business. And then within the masculine and the feminine pillar, that's where the astrology comes in as well. It's like bringing the intentionality into everything that we do, understanding that there is a season for everything in life. There's a season to be out and about, to be visible, to launch, to make a shit ton of money. And then there's a season that you will be brought to your knees, praying to God, thinking to yourself, what the F is going on? And it's really a season for integration, for deepening your embodiment, for healing your shit, for taking ownership, for slowing down, for resting, because your body will feel so lethargic and tired. And it's so important that you honor yourself no matter what season of life you're moving through. Because this is where I see in hustle culture where it goes wrong. Like it's very masculine. It's very go, 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 go. Let's go. Like next month needs to be better than last month. And it's so freaking toxic that like that's a world that I don't even want to be part of. Like how I built my business is a completely different way. Like I really had to rewire my beliefs around that as well of like, no, I can be successful. I can be a present mama, whilst not self-abandoning, whilst not losing myself on the horizontal line, right? I like to give this analogy of like we have the horizontal line and the vertical line. We want to build a business from our vertical line. This is our connection to God, to our highest self. When I'm connected to my highest self, I can never burn out because I'm showing up from a place of alignment, from intuition, and deeply honoring myself, my desires, my emotions, and my needs. I'm not spiritually bypassing, right? I'm staying loyal to myself. But where I see it most of the time going wrong with a lot of entrepreneurs and coaches and consultants is that they lose themselves on the horizontal line. This is where we are in connection to other people, right? This is where we self abandon. This is where we start performing, over functioning, people pleasing, all of the strategies in order to keep or maintain love and acceptance and belonging, which are universal human needs that are very important. But we're missing out on the most important key is that we're not building a business from alignment anymore. And this is usually when it turns into burnout over time. Right? Does that make sense?
100%. Yeah, it totally does. And I love this imagery of the vertical versus the horizontal and how my connection to source and the service to God trumps and actually is the waypoint for my business versus how many people can I reach and how many leads can I get and how many courses can I offer and it is very much a hustle. Like I wanted to make a shirt that says align and shine over hustle and grind because to me this hustle and grind culture, like I've never seen anything grow by grinding it. You know,
Hmm.
like it beats it down, and we've built this really toxic culture. And I'm curious, what did it look like for you, like on the court, to rewire some of these narratives, whether around money or your own self-worth?
Hmm.
What were you doing? What type of practices
Yeah.
helped you integrate a new way of being?
Yeah. Well, that's a really good question. So, what I also really want to clarify is that the first couple of years of my business, the reason why it is such a success that it is now is also because I was hustling a lot. So, like, yes, I am obviously now I want to do things differently. That version of me no longer feels in alignment with where I'm at in my life right now, with my level of consciousness. But I also really want to say that that season of my life was necessary in order to get me to a certain point. But the thing is, what gets you to one level is not going to get you to the next. And that's when I became a mom, right? That's when I realized, like, oh my God, I cannot continue working like this. I can't freaking grind like a bro. I'm like, I'm a woman. I want to honor my feminine superpowers. That's so important. And I think like becoming a mother has shifted so much for me. It allowed me to tap even more into my feminine superpowers and really honoring my feminine essence and understanding that being in my feminine is not passive. It's not weak because that used to be like a limiting belief that I had. It's actually so much more empowering because everything that I do, I move with intention. I move with flow. I move with alignment. I'm constantly in communion with God, with my highest self, coming from my vertical line, right? That's a very empowering place to show up from. That's why I don't burn out. Even though I like, yes, the past couple of years were really tough with like, having a baby and the sleepless nights and, all the things that come with that. It definitely wasn't easy. But it allowed me to build a level of resilience and stretch my capacity in ways that I wasn't even like aware of that was possible. Now, to come back to your question, a couple of tools that have been really helpful for me to heal my patterns is definitely nonviolent communication. Right, I've experimented with so many tools like plant medicine, EFT tapping, hypnotherapy, you name it, I've done it. Right, but what was the most pivotal for me was really nonviolent communication. Right, and nonviolent communication is so deep, it's so multi-layered, but it really allowed me to stay away from the stories, drop into essence, and staying away as well from the horizontal line and really coming back to my vertical line by continuously checking in with myself, like what is really my desire here? What are my unmet needs? What strategies can I come up with to meet my own needs? What requests can I make towards my, at the time, my partner or my friends or my clients or myself or God? Right. So I think nonviolent communication is like one of the main modalities that I use as well as a coach because it's so profound. Like being able to make someone feel so seen and heard and understood and valued and safe, I would say that's like one of my superpowers. So first and foremost, I had to learn how to do that for myself before I felt ready to also start doing that for other people.
I'm curious. So you go through these practices and you meet these deeper parts of yourself, and you start to shift internally. What have you found are the themes that happen within someone as they start to scale and as they start to grow?
I'm a firm believer of new levels, new devils. So whatever level you're playing at in business, whether you're starting out or you've been doing it for a couple of years or you've had a business for decades, I think you're always going to be met with more limiting beliefs or stories that you're telling yourself, right? Like even recently, before I scaled my business to multiple six figures a year, I had this massive belief around, oh, but if I'm going to scale, am I going to be able to still deliver the same amount of quality that I'm used to and that my clients are used to? Because going from, let's say, 10 clients to all of a sudden 50 or 100 clients, how is that going to work out? What if I drop the ball? What if I disappoint people? Right? Sounds familiar?
Hmm. I know that guy.
Yeah, it's a story that a lot of entrepreneurs have. And then, it's about, this is why I love being a coach, by the way, because I can just like coach myself through it of like, is it really true? Am I really going to drop the ball? Do I have proof or evidence in the past when I was growing and scaling my business that I dropped the ball? Like, yes, of course, I'm not perfect. There were moments that I'm mourning that I wish went different, but it wasn't, right? It's also allowing myself to be human. It's so important. But at the same time, I know that I'm a go-getter. I know that I know my standards, my level of discernment, my level of capacity, and it all at the end of the day, entrepreneurship comes down to the amount of self-trust that you have. Do you trust yourself that you'll figure it out step by step, even though you can't see the final end picture yet? Right. And that is something that I had to like train over and over again. And I was being confronted with is like, how deeply do I really trust myself that I've got me, that I've got myself no matter what? And I think that is the ultimate gift of entrepreneurship. Because if you trust yourself, you can do whatever in life, right? And I was also being confronted with that recently when I lost my Instagram for 2 months. I finally got it back. I won the case, but they suspended my account and I felt incredibly powerless and frustrated. I felt so misunderstood. But that was really a moment that I was like, wow, I'm being tested here right now because my Instagram is my core revenue driver, right? It's my income, it's my livelihood. So of course I was like, oh wow, I'm stressed. Like if this is gone and I have no one to market to besides of course my Telegram channel and my email list and so on. But Instagram was like the main channel for me. So I was fighting it and resisting it and being angry with God of like, God, how dare you doing this to me after everything that happened? I just went through like a gnarly breakup, I was waiting for an engagement ring and then this happened. Are you freaking kidding me? So I was staying in victim consciousness for quite a while. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I'm not judging it because it makes us human. It makes me human. It's really important to not spiritually bypass our experience, to give it the right to exist of how we're really feeling and allowing the rage to come up and the disappointment and the fear and the pain and all of it. But then there was a moment in time that I was like, okay, let me actually shift from victim consciousness to creator consciousness. And that's usually a bit more of an empowering consciousness to be in, I would say,
A little bit.
because then you start being creative. Yeah, exactly. You start being creative and you start looking at opportunities in every challenge that you're being met with. So I started seeing like, okay, what's the opportunity here for me? Okay, I lost my Instagram. Can I rebuild? Can I start over? Can I see this as a rebrand, as me pivoting into a new direction? Because I've been wanting to do this for months. I feel like God or the universe is now like inviting me to step the fuck up and to fully go for it and believing in myself that I can do it, right? Because I had also this belief that like, oh my God, I've built like this beautiful empire and I'm so excited to build it out even more and more and really scale it to the moon. And at the same time, this fear that came up with it of like, what if I lose it all? Well, I am happy to confirm that I basically lost it all in the past couple of months. I lost my dream relationship. I lost my income. And I was like, wow, what a humbling journey, right? So like all the things that I was fearing the most happened. And now looking back, I can see like, wow, it just happened for a reason for sure. But in a moment, I was like, fuck that. Don't tell me that everything happens for a reason. This fucking sucks. Again, authentically expressing and not spiritually bypassing my experience. But as soon as I accepted that this was my reality and that I fully trusted myself, like I can rebuild from scratch no matter what, because yes, things outside of my control, it's happening, right? There's nothing I can do about it. I can only focus on what I can control, right? And coming back to presence and homeostasis and regulating my nervous system and connecting to God, that does lie within my control, right? Focusing on building that muscle even more of self-trust. And that when that moment came and that I was like fully accepting of like, okay, this is my reality. I lost all the things that I was holding on to and I was also attaching my identity to and my self-worth to a certain degree. And when I dropped into acceptance, that's when my account came back. That's when energy started flowing again. And I'm like, oh my God, you can't make this up. This is so wild. And again, there were so many golden nuggets in that moment, in those moments for me. And right now I feel like so much more empowered and embodied than before. I feel like I have way more clarity around like who I am and what I want to do, and understanding that my power does not come from my relationship status, how many followers I have on Instagram, how much money I have on my bank account, but it really comes from within. And that is what I'm so passionate about teaching, is really your personal power. Where are you outsourcing your personal power, and how can you reclaim it, coming back to your vertical line, your connection to God and your highest self?
Mm, what a masterclass lesson that you just got. And the word that you kept saying and I kept hearing over and over was trust.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so curious what you've mined from this experience to teach others how to trust even deeper.
Whew, self-trust is really being built when you are at the bottom of the barrel. That's what I would say. Like, yes, it's easy to feel confident when everything goes well and you're on the top of the mountain and you're making so much money and you're being seen and you're getting opportunities and everyone loves you. But what do you do when, you start getting hate comments on Instagram? All of a sudden, everyone hates you. People are canceling you. No one's signing up for your offers. It's like crickets, right? There's no money coming in. Who are you then behind the scenes, behind the curtain when no one is watching, right?
Mm,
That's the type of leadership that I'm interested in developing myself, and also what I'm looking for in other leaders is like, how are they leading themselves behind the scenes, also in their personal life, right? Because they can be like the spiritual, enlightened leader on Instagram, but if they're a freaking dick behind the scenes and like treating their family members like shit, like, I'm not interested. Integrity on all levels, in all areas of your life. That is super important, right? And I think over time, like, people can feel that. People can feel embodiment. Feel, people can feel integrity as well. And that's the type of leadership that I envision for the future, that this is where we're all headed as a collective and a community. And this is also coming back to nonviolent communication, what I was speaking on earlier. Is like, this type of leadership comes from a level of equality, not hierarchy. It's not like, I'm better than you. You must listen to me. I'm an authority. It's like, no, we all have value to share. We all have things to contribute to the space. And that is also something that I love to lead with in my spaces, in my masterminds, for example. It's like, no, we're all contributing to the space. We're all equal. Like, yes, I have more experience in certain areas, of course, and that's why you're hiring me, but I'll always treat other people as my equal.
mhm. Oh yeah, I like to say I don't sit above you, I sit alongside you. And it's such an important distinction when people are paying us good amounts of money to teach them things of like, hey, just because I may be a few steps ahead in a certain area doesn't mean you don't have an equal level of wisdom in another.
Hmm.
And to have, it pinged me when I was listening to you, you talked about integration and something I've heard, and maybe you can speak on this of like in the shift from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius, it's the age of knowledge into wisdom, which really speaks to the integration aspect of where we're headed and how now with ChatGPT, it's not like how much knowledge do you have. Like you can literally ask this thing anything, but it's who you be in the face of lifing, that is the thing that stands above and beyond the noise and the just the yeah, the noise of social media these days.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's why I think it's so important as a leader that on social media you demonstrate your skills and your level of embodiment, because energy doesn't lie, right? Because everyone can have all these beautifully curated, well written captions on Instagram. But at the end of the day, I want to see you speak. I want to see you hosting a workshop and coaching others, because I really want to see how you lead yourself and how you lead others before I start fully trusting yourself and knowing like, okay, this person can hold me fully. I trust that this is the right mentor for me, the person that I would like to co-create magic with together.
Mm, I love that. It's as you were saying that, I was like, man, I have so much content that I don't even consider content, and like workshops and working with people and like in real time and just me talking to the camera, which, for a long time I was like, no, I need B-roll, I need all these cuts and stuff. And it's like the energy that I have of presencing myself to an experience is like a very big part of my work. And so thank you for that confirmation of just allowing and accepting and not trying to force. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely an edge of mine these days.
Love that. Yeah. And I'm curious to know, like, why is that an edge for you?
I think there's a narrative in there of presenting in a way. I guess the word is there's performance of like presenting in a way that makes me look like an authority,
Mm,
and not letting my lived experience be enough of an example of that authority versus this is how many courses I've taken, this is how many certifications I have, and this is the way I can break this down for you. And it's like I rarely ever talk any of that content when I'm actually coaching someone. But there is a
hmm.
part of me that believes that like I've got to, maybe this is Virgo rising of me of like I've got to be exactly dialed in and perfectly put together and all this stuff. And it's just, yeah, it's a trip
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, it sounds like there's this winding around perfectionism,
A hundred
right? If you're
percent.
not being perceived as, in a certain way as being perfect, like you're the authority, you got your shit together, then people won't take you as seriously. Could that be true?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, that was me growing up. My mom is definitely, there's a reason they call Asian women tiger moms. It's like A plus is it. It's not a minus, let alone a B or a C. The joke is that in the Asian culture, A is for average, B is for bad, C is for catastrophic, and D is for disowned. F is for find a new family.
Oh my God, no ways.
I've
I had no
literally,
clue. This is so
yeah,
funny.
I've literally thought about, and I think this would be an epic niche to go into is second generation immigrant healing of
Hmm.
just
Hmm.
working with people who have foreign parents and
Yeah.
especially Asians because there's so few Asians in the healing space of like there's such a torrential amount of shame, which I
Hmm.
I would say for a long time my emotional home was shame. I lived in it so deeply and dearly,
Yeah.
and for that I transmuted a ton of it now and allow
Hmm.
myself to be really witnessed on social media, whether it's crying or angry or just having a whole ass human experience, which turns out is actually what does really well, not this like, this is how you get from A to B to C.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and this also comes down to your Leo moon, right, and your natal chart. And I think coming back to like what we shared earlier is like this is exactly a beautiful example. Thank you so much for sharing this so openly of like where you are losing yourself on the horizontal line,
Mhm.
where you're outsourcing your power, which we most of us do, by the way. It's not only you, it's definitely also me. I have a Leo sun, so I'm raising my hands. I'm right here with you. But like I recognize this pattern in you and let me know if this resonates. It's like you're self-abandoning on the horizontal line, right? Feeling into like, okay, what type of content should I post that will perform well so that will people start looking at me in a certain way, will start hiring me, taking me seriously. And it all comes down to this like this wounding around like not feeling like you have the right to exist. It's like you have to
Mm.
fight for your place in society, right? And I think also shadow side of Leo moon is that you can be outsourcing your power and depending on external validation too much. Whereas this is the opportunity, like, okay, where can I learn how to really solidify and giving that validation to myself first and foremost, so that I can show up from a way more empowering place on social media for my vertical line, from like being in alignment with my highest self and really channeling, right? Whatever wants to come true in this present moment, no matter how many likes it will get or how it will be perceived by your community or your followers, it does not matter, right? And this is where we're not losing ourselves in the process. Does that make sense?
100%. Yeah, it's my friend was asking me today, I was just doing this exercise because I'm in this place of my life where everything is transforming. My body is transforming, my finances are transforming, my relationships are transforming. And the last relationship is the one with myself. My
Mm-hmm.
relationship with my parents is transformed, and now it's like, okay, I can't blame them anymore. I can't blame my friends. I can't blame my bank account. And I'm not even trying to blame myself. So my friend asked me today, it's like, okay, let's just imagine for a second that the money showed up. What would you do? And I was like, I'd relax. And he's like, okay, so can you relax now? I'm like, yeah. As I said it, what came through actually on a deeper level is I would be proud of myself for what I've
Yeah.
created. I would be like I'd really own the success of it and me getting as far as I have and surviving the things all that like I would and this is I think the practice that's being called forward is to be grateful for God,
Yeah.
to say
I love
thank you.
that. Yeah. And I would love to ask a question. I don't know if this resonates for you, but could it be that on some level you're still staying loyal to your mother, who was so hard on you when you were younger, right? And that there's still like this part of you, the little boy in you that wants to make mommy happy, that wants mommy to be proud of you. Does that resonate or not at all?
No, it does. I mean, it does because there is still a part of me that wants to show up as perfect, and more so in
Yeah,
the sense of like the right way to do the business thing, because that will
yeah,
lead to the money. And it's
right.
interesting because we've had a lot of conversations lately where she's like not she's shifted out of that now. She's really proud of me and she's really stoked about what I've created. She's listened to my podcast and like all this stuff. And then there's still the little boy in me that's like, yeah,
Hmm.
but,
Yeah.
like let's just make sure we do this the right way though.
Yeah, yeah. So interesting that you say this right now because it is so true. The adult version of you can see the patterns and can understand it, and you have a good relationship with your mother now. She's proud of you, which is amazing. But little you, the 7-year-old version of, or however old you were, right, where you had like really big, significant moments taking place around this topic, like he still doesn't feel safe around this all.
Hmm.
And he is trying to use control as a strategy in order to obtain safety.
Hmm.
Because that is what it all comes down to at the end of the day is like you not feeling emotionally safe within yourself. And that's why you're looking for outside of things, right? Such as money or followers or whatever it is, right? It doesn't really matter. To kind of like come back to like, okay, now I made $30,000 this month. Now I'm safe. Now I'm safe. Now I recognize myself or I get recognition from others, that maybe still happens on a subconscious level, but it all comes down to like, oh, now I'm safe.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
100%. And it's interesting because, as you were speaking and you said 7, I was like, no, he's not 7. And then I asked myself, let's go, how old is he? And he's actually like, because I've been aging myself forward into the present day. And there's a part of me that's stuck around my late 20s, early 30s, because I was
Mm,
in corporate America. I had a super successful job and I hated it. So I quit my job and I went to work for a startup company. And I was subsequently fired from that company. And when I left the company, my mom was like, "You're making a huge mistake. You're walking away from a six-figure salary and 401k and stock and healthcare and all this stuff." And I was like, "I have to do this. Like, I'm not going to be here if I don't do this."
mhm, mhm,
And when I lost my job, I was essentially asked to leave because I was out of align. I didn't align with who they were. And in that moment, I was really stepping into who I was. And so, on a deeper subconscious level, there is a story there that's like, well, if I really become who I am, it's not going to go well. And so, it's this really interesting push pull that happens inside of me of like, but I know who I am is the magic, but
mhm.
the magic is also what got me punished. And so, it's like, fuck, like,
Yeah,
oh God, and so I've been doing a
yeah.
lot of practices lately around channeling my anger and,
Mhm,
just being with these parts of like, yeah, we can take as long as we want. And I would
mhm.
really like to allow myself to just be myself and not have to strategize
Yeah,
how I'm supposed to show up in the world.
yeah. Yes, it almost sounds like you have a story around that your most authentic self is not good enough. It's not loved, right? If you do show up in your most authentic self, right, back then,
Yeah.
because you've done a lot of work on this, that it feels unsafe almost, right? And I think it also comes down to like, can you accept yourself unconditionally, right? Because when we drop into self acceptance, then we're free. We
Hmm.
set ourselves free from suffering. This is where we move from conditional to unconditional, right? Because for the longest time, I was like, yeah, I love myself. I accept myself, but I need to look beautiful. I need to have a lot of money in the bank. I need to be in a committed relationship. I need to be married. Otherwise, I don't accept myself.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting as this topic is coming up because I'm going through this huge body transformation right now. I'm like losing weight and like starting to see my
Yeah.
abs and like all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, but am I holding this as a conditional, like, okay, now I'm gonna love my body?
Hmm.
Now like my income is changing and now I'm gonna love my life. And that's actually
Hmm.
something that really recently coming out of the Vipassana retreat, I came out and was like, I'm declaring that I love my life, period, no matter what.
Hmm.
Because for a long time in my life, like I wouldn't say that shit. I was like, no way. And so
Yeah.
now I'm like, no, gang, gang, we're on the team, 100%.
Hmm.
and this beckoning for self-acceptance and self-love on like a really cellular level is deeply coming through.
Yeah. And have you lost weight as a result?
I'm down like almost 20 pounds.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
proof is
like
in the pudding.
yeah, like I'm so dialed in right now. Like I went to a birthday party this past weekend and my friend had this like super clean cake that I was actually able to eat in my I'm on a 6 month detox right now and so very strict diet. And I was actually able to eat the cake and I ate a couple bites and I was like, wow, this is like so decadent and so rich and it tastes really good. And then my body was like, we're done. We're full. Like we don't need any more. And I remember I'm like, oh, I'm great. I'm done. And then like unconsciously auto program my body picked up the fork and I was like, whoa, no, dude. Like, and I like went and bust the plate to be like, I'm not even gonna like put myself in a space where I can like allow that into my body and then have a stomach ache and feel like shit. I was like, no, like I love this thing so dearly. And that has not been the case for a long time.
Wow. Wow. It sounds like you are moving through a season of deeply honoring yourself,
Hmm.
learning how to do that, how to stay loyal to yourself,
Yeah.
right? And as a result, that is usually when your body loses weight,
Hmm.
right? Because you can try out all the strategies, keto diet and going to the gym 5 times a week and pushing through. But I actually have found after my pregnancy, I had gained 25 kgs. I have now lost 30 kgs. So I'm thinner, quote unquote, than, right before I felt pregnant. And the main strategy for me was really also exactly the same thing as what you're describing. It's like, how much can I drop into softness and gentleness for myself and my body? True
Hmm.
reverence,
Yes,
loving
that
this
word.
body. Yeah, because I carried life and I'm so proud of myself and my body. I have a son. I grew a penis inside of my body. Like, that's a freaking big thing to do, right? That's a superpower right
Miracle.
there. Yeah.
I can't do that.
Yeah, exactly. So I was just like thanking my body every day and feeding it nourishing foods and just coming to a place of like, yeah, true self-acceptance. Like, I love you, body, no matter where you're at, whatever number I see on the scale. I
Hmm.
love you, I adore you, I'm here for you. We're doing this together. You can take your time. And
Hmm.
this is an analogy that I would like to use as well that I over and over say again to my clients, whether it applies to business, money, or your body, your weight, whatever, it doesn't matter. Nothing grows out of hard rocks. Okay.
Mm.
Nothing grows out of hard rocks. We need to tend to our garden with so much reverence again, nourishment, planting the seeds with gentleness and softness, giving it the right foods, and be really patient with the process. That is when the seed starts to blossom. That's when we see the most beautiful flowers. But nothing grows out of hard rocks. So if we keep beating ourselves up over and over and over again, like I'm such a fucking loser and I'm fat and I'm ugly and I'm da 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 da, it's not good enough. Whew, that is actually counterproductive, I've found over time because it
Mm.
doesn't get me anywhere. It makes me feel depressed. I'm full of shame and I'm not getting anything done. Right.
Mhm.
So before I even like do anything, whether it's like creating my to-do list or working or whether it has to do with my body, before the masculine, I first bring in the feminine, the motherly energy, right? To drop into softness, compassion, empathy. And then from that place, from that vertical line, because you can't, on the horizontal line, you're not in empathy, you're not in compassion, you're not in self connection, right? So from that vertical place, that connection to yourself, it's so much more potent to show up in your life, in business, in your relationships, to the gym, right? Because you're coming from this really nourishing energy. So the motherly energy first and foremost, before then the fatherly energy when we start looking at strategies and like, let me do this, let me do that, da 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 da. Right?
Mm. Oh yeah, I love that. The unconditional love followed by the discipline, followed by the strategy, and like in that order, because otherwise it becomes conditional. If it's strategy, then the love, it's like, well, if you do this the right way, then this happens.
Yeah. But that's very violent towards yourself. Can you see that
Right.
too?
100%.
Because if you're not creating the space to actually feel what's alive for you around this topic, to allow yourself to mourn, to allow yourself to give expression to the rage or whatever emotion feels authentic for you in that moment, You're actually spiritually bypassing yourself. It's very violent towards yourself. That's exactly the analogy. Like nothing grows out of hard rocks. It will
Hmm.
get you to a certain, level in life and in business, but it won't get you to the next level. At least not in a sustainable way. And that's what I'm interested in. Anyone can build $1 million business or $1 billion business, but the how you're doing it, that is what I'm most interested in.
Hmm. No, 100%. I love that. And it's interesting because I've been seeing it in my personal life now where like I have full length mirrors in my bedroom and I walk by, I'm like, God, you look great, bro. Like I'm so proud of you. Like, God, you shut up, you worked out today and you're about to go meal prep. Like, bro, you're incredible. Like, I fucking love you, bro. Like, like we're going to the shit, bro. Like we're on the way, and to really be gassing myself up and having fun with it of just like dancing in my room and these type of things, and then also making space for like, okay, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna bust this thing out, and I really feel like I'm coming into alignment now. And
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
curious, what's a hard truth about alignment that people don't want to hear?
I feel like this is where the astrology piece comes in for me. Astrology has always allowed me to see what is in alignment with my soul's journey in this lifetime and what is not by looking at the natal charts, the soul's blueprint, but also at the transits, like the planets in relationship to my natal chart. And that showed me again, like what season of life that I'm currently in. And I feel like when we're swimming upstream, when we're fighting the current, when we're resisting it, that's usually when it's the hardest. That's when Sky Daddy starts like spanking you really hard. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Yeah. So even like the season now that I went through, I just went through a really gnarly season, like probably the biggest initiation of my life. It brought me to my knees, like I said. And it was for like a solid 6 to 9 months. I knew that this was not a time for me to be like so out and about, constantly launching. Like I really listened. I slowed down. I submitted to God's plan, knowing that God knows so much better what He has in store for me than me. Right. And for the longest time, I was trying to control the outcome. Right. It's again this strategy of control, trying to get control and the perfectionism in order to like be safe.
Hmm.
Right. But it's an illusion, of course. It's an illusion. Safety comes from within. It doesn't come from outside of you. So I think like coming back to the alignment piece, I feel like astrology is a reflection of your intuition. And it's about how deeply can you honor yourself in the season of life that you're currently in and really make the most out of it. Seeing every challenge that is coming your way as a beautiful opportunity to pivot, to rebrand, to learn, to mature as well, and to become an even more empowered version of yourself.
Yeah, I love that. I've learned so much from these tools, whether it's astrology or human design or, some of the other ones, buzzworthy names and all that. But I'm curious just because, a lot of those tools exist in the spiritual community. And this is a question I was really curious from your perspective because as an international speaker, hosting retreats and interacting with the spiritual community at large, like where do you think the spiritual business space is delusional right now?
Yeah, so I'm currently in a season of life where I'm figuring out where on the spectrum I am right now because I have a really strong connection to God. And that usually happens when we are walking through the fire, when we are being challenged and stretched to our max capacity. And the truth is, I don't have clear answers to it, but I think it's super important to not spiritually bypass. Like what I shared earlier of like, saying all the things of like everything happens for a reason. There's something greater on the other side, like this, you have to change something or transform something. Like that is clearly something that is not in alignment or where you're not listening. And I'm like, that's actually not helpful right now. Like I feel like shit. I just want someone who can hold the space for me and listen compassionately and with full presence and yeah, empathy. And I think this is sometimes, yeah, that I find a little bit challenging in the spiritual community is that people are listening, but are they really listening?
Hmm.
Do they really know how to hold space? Do they really know how to make someone feel safe? And this is where the nonviolent communication comes in for me, is a strategy to come closer to God for yourself, but also a way to find deeper intimacy and connection with other people. So for me, nonviolent communication is the practice, is my spiritual practice. I'm not someone who's constantly like, pulling tarot cards or like having my crystals or consulting my crystals when I'm like making a really big decision. It's like, no, it's coming back to my own power, how much I trust myself, and listening to my own inner intuition, which is my inner compass. It's my guidance, right? It's that is actually my business plan. Always checking in with my body, with my nervous system, with my intuition. Like that is the business plan.
Oh, I love that. That's so good. It's like it can't be wrong. Like the
Hmm.
intuitive nature of our inner dialogue is always right if we slow down long enough to listen to it. And letting that be the compass to move us through life is better than, yeah, oh, it's 11:11. Okay, now we can do it. It's like, what? Like, what are we talking about here? And
Hmm.
yeah, I love that reminder to come back to yourself. It's something when you were sharing earlier about in this season you've been, you've retreated and been with yourself, and it's something that I'm going through a lot lately. Like people are like, "Where you been, bro?" I'm like, "Oh, I don't leave my house. I live on 5 acres. I don't. Why would I leave my house? Like, my house is amazing. I live in a kingdom. It's like I never see you. I'm like, I know. I'm busy building. Like I'm deeply tending to myself, and one of the things that was coming through as I was thinking about that was like the I was originally thinking like, oh, I'm gonna get really good at being alone, and I'm like, I can't be alone. I'm always with myself. I'm always hanging out with this guy, and I'm getting to know him really well, and like what he likes to play on guitar, and how he likes to move his body, and what kind of feels like a little ow,
Hmm.
and like what feels good in his belly. And I'm like, I'm not alone. I'm hanging with this dude
Hmm.
every day, and so
Yeah.
I love this mirror that you've provided in that season.
Learning how to be your own best friend is like honestly the greatest gift you can give yourself. Like
Mm.
I'm currently single. I'm on a no man diet. I'm not on dating apps. I'm not like putting myself out there in that way at all. It's just me doing me, dating me, being in communion with God, being there for my son, being the best possible mother I can be, still building and growing my business. And it feels so good. This season of life is delicious. And for the longest time, I believed that being single is such a massive punishment. Whereas now I'm like, no, this is necessary in order for me to upgrade and to make myself ready for my king to appear, right? Whenever I am ready for that moment. Like I first deeply want to fall in love with myself and my life and live this really big, bold, beautiful life that I'm obsessed with. And I'm not coming from a place of like needing anyone to fulfill me or to feel whole and complete. And it
Mhm.
took me months, 6 months, right, since I've been, integrating my heartbreak and my separation and the disappointment that I felt around that relationship because, in my eyes, he was the man of my life. He was my baby daddy. He still is my baby daddy. So I was like, I want to continue my life with this man. And then, God intervened, as God always does. And it's been such a beautiful process of integrating and healing also my childhood wounds and a lot of stuff around and wordiness that came up. And right now I feel so solid within myself, within my confidence, within my leadership. And like this is the best season of my life right now. I'm deciding it, I'm claiming it, I'm declaring it to God of like I decide that this is going to be the best season of my life.
I love that. I love that. And yeah, you get to choose. We get to
Hmm.
declare this and we get to own it and be responsible for it. And I feel like that is similarly what I'm going through right now, single and enjoying it thoroughly, like thoroughly enjoying it on every level. I mean, there are moments where my mind wants to play stories, but in general, I feel like I'm living the best I've ever lived.
Hmm.
And to find a lot of joy in that, and like I said earlier, pride and just acknowledgement for myself of like, dude, we're doing it. Okay, like just remember
Hmm.
that on the days that my mind, oh, you didn't sleep long enough, it's like, okay, man, we're back.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
a couple
Yeah.
more, and then we'll wrap up. Just honor your time. If someone feels stuck right now, what should they focus on first? Strategy, alignment, or healing?
Oh, slowing down, baby. If you feel stuck, slow the fuck down. We got to slow down in order to speed up. I
Hmm.
think that's so important. Focus on what lies within your control in this moment. Focus on being in communion to God, spending a lot of time in nature, because the answers will not come from you being on ChatGPT every minute of the day and asking a million questions. I feel like, yes, clarity does come from taking action 100%. Like the path is being revealed as you go. But first and foremost, you got to slow down. That's what I would recommend. That's what I did, for the past 6 months. I didn't receive that green light. I knew this new version of me wanted to emerge and wanted to be birthed, but I wasn't ready. I didn't have the clarity of like what that would look like, what I wanted to talk about, what my passions were. Like life felt very depressing and dull. And like I didn't feel like it was in integrity to show up from that place. To then start teaching people of like, about personal power and leadership, whereas like I was feeling so shit. I was feeling like shit and like I was just not my most empowered version at the time. And I'm not saying that you can't teach and share your magic with the world, but I just felt like I needed a break. I needed to take a step back, to zoom out and to connect to like, okay, what is the soul and the spirit of this new program, of this new version of me as well that wants to come true? And then from that place, as soon as I received that green light of like, okay, this is it, then from that place, I would like, I took action step by step, but really doing it gently. I'm not the type of coach who's like, like the Hormozis, work every single day. You gotta just work like 27 hours a day. And I'm like, but I only have 24 hours. No, work harder. I'm like, okay, Jesus. I remember Layla Hormozi a couple of years on her stories that she shared that whenever she's on her periods, she would take an aspirin so that she doesn't have to deal with any pain or cramps and she can just keep on grinding. And I was like, wow, this is so completely opposite to like my philosophy and my way of doing things in business. Like that's not how I want to grow my business. Like amazing, congratulations about, all the money and they're amazing. So there's nothing bad I want to say about them or anything, but it's just not my way. It really isn't. There's a million ways of how you can grow and build and scale your business. And I had to learn, like, okay, I trust that there's another way out there for me. And I'm going to walk my path. And I'm choosing the path of the least resistance, of alignment, and really doing it intentionally. And I'm doing it together with my inner child, hand in hand, together. And that's my philosophy, right? And there's a lot of women out there who resonate with that. And then I'm sure there's a lot of bro marketeers that out there who are like, fuck that. I just want to work every single day and grind. And da, 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 da. I'm like, that's also totally fine. You do you, freedom of choice, baby.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, just make sure it's you, not someone else's marketing plan.
Yeah, that as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, because what works for someone else is not necessarily going to work for you. And I
right.
think this is where the astrology piece comes in. I actually have a beautiful reading that is called The Category of One Blueprint.
Hmm.
And as I'm specialized in business astrology, I really look at your highest potential, your unique soul's blueprint, and seeing like, okay, what is an alignment for you to create and to give birth to in this lifetime? What are your wealth codes? What messaging is your $1 million messaging? What is going to land with your soulmate client? Who is your soulmate client? What niche are you meant to work in? How are you meant to thrive? What is your leadership style? What business models, or any recommendations that I have around that? And it's such a juicy, delicious reading because it goes really in depth into like, this is the blueprint of your soul that your soul has chosen in this lifetime. And when you follow that path, that is what will lead to abundance. Because I truly believe that the more authentic you are, the more abundance you will magnetize and attract as a result.
100%. 100%. I like to say that the universe is waiting to reward us for being ourselves. So
Yeah.
I 100% agree with that. And on that note, what's something that someone can do today to move into deeper alignment?
Ooh, I would say start booking a reading with me. We can look at your natal chart. Like I said, the category of one blueprint reading is really juicy. That looks at your soul's purpose and your gifts in this lifetime, how you're meant to lead yourself and others. Or we can look at your transits for this year to see, like, okay, what is the season of love that I'm currently in? How can I make the most out of it? What are the potential challenges? What are the opportunities here for me to grow and step into? And really consciously co-creating with the universe. So those are like really fun two readings that I recommend to gain more awareness around who you are and what is meant for you and where you're currently at in life. And yeah, start bringing in that intentionality into everything in your life, not only business, but everything. And start noticing synchronicities and more alignment, more doors being opened up to you at certain moments in life because divine timing is really a thing. And I think this is what astrology can show is it's like You can grind your way for an entire year and still not have the results. And then as soon as you kind of like let go or like maybe slow down a little bit, then all of a sudden the opportunities start coming in, right? Has that happened to you before?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, right? It was the same with this season that I moved through now. Like I knew because I have obviously the tool of astrology and numerology. I have this strategic advantage that I knew that the past 6 months was not a time for me to like go all in and launch this new project. I knew that if I was going to launch it, it was not going to be received in the way that I had hoped for. So I always align my launches and my visibility strategies to my astrological transits in order to make the most out of it and have the biggest impact.
Wow. Yeah. My version of that was when I moved to Maui. My Neptune line runs right through this island. And so it was like, okay, we're going to connect to God and spirituality and higher purpose before we try to like blow this thing out. And that's been my practice. I was deep in grief when I moved here, and it was like, okay, find reverence for life, find God again, find it in nature, find it in myself, and then offer it up, but
Yeah.
not in reverse order.
Yeah. And look what happened. You just finished a launch and it was the greatest launch of your business.
Yeah.
You're absolutely killing it because you prioritized yourself and God first. And I love that. You know, like money is just a byproduct from us living in our soul's purpose and serving powerfully and being in connection to ourselves. I
Hmm.
truly believe that.
Hmm.
The more we prioritize that, the more money we will make.
Hmm. Yeah. No, 100%. And there's been a lot of surrender lately to just being like, okay, this is your plan, not my plan. This is your timeline, not my timeline. Like, so how can please serve me? Like, let me serve you. Like, how can I be of service? And to that, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, homie got out of the way. Here we go. Ready? And so on that note, last question on that note of getting out of one's own way and achieving success because of it. What is your current definition of success?
Oh, let me feel into that one. Yeah. Based on what we discussed today is that I am not losing myself on the horizontal line, that I'm not losing myself in codependency in my personal relationships, but also in business, that I don't need something outside of myself in order to feel complete and whole and fulfilled and happy. Like even the past couple of weeks, I woke up every single morning and I was like, I'm just so happy. I don't have a reason, right? Whereas like last year, I was like, oh my God, I just made $40,000 this month. This is amazing. I feel so happy. Like I needed to have a reason to be happy. Whereas now I'm like, no, I'm just so happy simply for existing. I'm happy because the sun is shining. I live in Cape Town. I live this amazing life. Like my blessings are really in the small things that I notice, that I pick up on. The fact that I have a cute little vegetable garden, that I get to dance, that I feel so feminine, that I feel so much in my pleasure. I feel alive. The food that I'm eating, the clients that I'm serving, all my clients are soulmate clients. I'm so grateful for them. You know, it's not so much more about like, oh, can I make another 40K, 50K a month? Can I make it happen? It's more like, can I attract the aligned people into my life, the people that excite me, that I would love to co-create magic with and support powerfully. And so a couple of things have shifted in the last year, I would say.
Mm,
And the quality of my life has increased because of it.
mhm, mm. It's been so fun getting to know you over the past couple of years and just watching your transformation and growth and evolution and the way you're out in the world now and sharing your gifts. And I love this conversation and just the way you're showing up and how you've navigated the past 6 months with grace and are here for a new level of it all. So it's really beautiful
Yeah,
the way it is.
yeah. Yeah, and I still am ambitious. I'm still high achieving. I still believe that I get to have it all and be wealthy and like attract these beautiful cash months, but I just want to do it in a different way. I don't want to lose myself in the process any longer. So that's the experiment that I am in right now. I was like, okay, let me continue, but in a new, more evolved, embodied way,
Hmm.
and hopefully also inspire other people to do the same.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. On that note of finding you, where can people find you on the socials, your website?
Yeah. So my website is catovermeulen.com. And on Instagram, you can also find me under my name, Cato Vermeulen, or my Instagram handle, Cat Caitlin. And yeah, I archived all my posts after I got my account back and started from scratch. So yeah, I'm excited to be sharing more posts on leadership, on innovative sales strategies, on business strategy, on emotional maturity, on online communication. I'm a very multidimensional woman, and I can't wait to share more of like all the teachings and the lessons that I've been learning whilst I was in the cocoon and connecting to God to now be a messenger and share it with the world.
Yeah. I can't wait to watch it unfold. It's been really cool to witness, and I'm excited for this next chapter for you, Kato.
Yeah, thank you so much, brother. This was so fun. I loved having this conversation with you. I just adore you and your energy, and also watching you blossom into your most magnetic self over the past couple of years has been such a joy to watch. And yeah, I'm so excited for you and also this journey that you're on.
It's really fun to witness, and thank you for being part of it. And thank you for being part of the show. It's been such a treat. And thank you to the listeners for giving us your time, your attention, and your presence. And if you enjoyed the show, please consider sharing it with your community to help these conversations get to the people that need it most. And in the meantime, until the next episode, follow the common thread and your way home. Aloha.